Hey, sorry guys, we had a little malfunction out there where the phone died. So we're inside now and we're just gonna continue. I was talking about, where was I? I was talking about Indian country, and you know that I just really, I want my message is for the young people to be good to one another, you know, learn from one another. Connect, talk, communicate, express yourself. Don't hold things in, you know. Find relation with one another and just enjoy yourself on the dance floor. That's what it's about. So, and then, so I'm here in Oakland right now. I came for a training, the yoga and the 12 steps of recovery training. And, like I just got to ground myself and take a deep breath, because it's been so much information this weekend, so much knowledge, and every single past weekend I've been having trainings and workshops, and it's a lot to take in. I have to keep grounding myself and taking a deep breath, because I just feel a lot right now. And so there's a lot of nerves. I also there's so much going on in my head right now that I'm gonna really try to follow along with you guys and try to stay on track here. So like I said, this is the first time it says that it's going dead again. Do you want to plug it into this?
You're good.
Okay. So yoga and the 12 steps of recovery. The Y12SR, it's a yoga training that I came to so that I could learn some tools to bring to reservations that will, it combines the 12 steps and yoga, but it is not a 12-step program and it's not an AA meeting. It basically uses the 12-step principles and the yoga principles and philosophy to help heal and cope with addiction. Now, addiction of any kind, not just alcohol and drugs. One of the biggest ones in Indian country is our food, our eating addictions, sugar addictions, unhealthy relationships, you know, abuse. So Y12SR it combines the practical tools of the 12-step program with the ancient wisdom of yoga. Combining the two creates a model that truly addresses addiction as the physical, mental, and spiritual disease that is. Y12SR is a 12-step based discussion and yoga practice open to anyone and everyone dealing with their own addictive behavior or affected by the addictive behavior of others, which is really important to know that a lot of people are affected by the people who are abusing with addictions in their lives. So this is a really good method for people who are living with addiction abuse in their household, in their family. This is an open and inclusive group and all are welcome. So basically we learned about how issues live in our tissues. We carry trauma in our body, and you know, it's in our body, it's in our tissues, and it's just there. And if we don't know how to release it through mind, body, spirit, then we just keep passing it down to our children, right? And so I love yoga because it helps release. It helps you go in here, accept your experiences in your life, and it helps you to release through the breath, through the mind, using the power of thought. And to me, that heals historical trauma. And if we can heal historical trauma in ourselves a little bit at a time, then we can ultimately reduce historical trauma in our future generations. And so that's my message right now in life, is that we need to go in here and work on ourselves one by one, because our people are hurting. You know, we're living with a lot of emotional trauma that we're letting it stay stored in our body. We don't know how to let it go. And that's what's causing all of our illnesses, our emotional dysfunctions, our reactive patterns. This is about breaking the pattern, breaking the cycle. And I just love how yoga and the 12 steps, they almost mirror each other. And so that's why I think it's just an awesome method. It's new. It's not a part of the 12 steps, and it's not a part of AA. It's its own thing. It's actually a meeting that would last about 75 minutes to an hour, where we would sit around in a group and people would be open to discuss anything that they wanted to get off their chest, whatever that may be. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. I would get a feel, the leader would get a feel of kind of the vibe and issues that are going on, and then I would look at the spiritual principles and I would base a movement practice for the next hour off of that would help guide us through our breath and our body, that would work through some of the issues that were present in the meeting at that time. So that's kind of like what a yoga 12-step meeting would be like. We just finished the training today at 6 p.m. And so I've been learning these past 3 days, and I'm still trying to decompress kind of, because of so much emotional stuff this weekend, so much knowledge, so much those aha moments, you know. I just have a lot going on in here and in here right now, so that's kind of why I'm kind of looking around and loopy, trying to look at my cards here. First time I've ever gone live. Again, my name is Acacia Red Elk. I'm from Pendleton, Oregon. I'm from the Umatilla tribe, and I'm a jingle dancer and a yoga teacher. So my intended goals with this training is to bring Y12SR to reservations and hold workshops that would address addictive behaviors, emotional patterns, historical trauma, how issues live in our tissues, and teaching people techniques, how to release that through the power of yoga, right? And discussion, a community of people. We could come back to reservations. I actually thought that I was going to be the only Native woman here, and I ended up meeting another woman. So I was leaving at the airport, and I was like, you know, I'm going in at this alone. I don't really know. I'm just going in blindly. I knew that I wanted to come to this training, but I didn't know a lot about it. I don't even know a lot about the 12 steps. I'm still learning it. This is new for me, but I know yoga and I understand this, and I know that it's super beneficial and it's going to help our people. And so, I was like, I'm going in at this alone, and I get here and there was an Ojibwe woman at the training as well. And we ended up, after the end of the first day, she said, I'm Native too. And I didn't know that in the beginning. And I said, I want to bring this back to the reservation, and I want to help people like this. And she said, that's exactly why I came too. And so we're kind of teaming up. We just met. I feel like she's my sister already. Her name's Brooke. And we're ready to take Y12SR on the road. We're ready to contact reservations that want to bring us there. I'm going to start in my own hometown in Pendleton, Oregon, with a Y12SR meeting. We're going to study more so that we can, really get good at this, because we're brand new to it. But we trust it, and it's about trusting it, trusting ourselves, and holding a safe space for people to come, share, and connect with their body and breath. Yoga is about connecting, uniting your mind to your body, your breath, your movement, to everything, to the whole, to the purpose, to your spirit. And so that's basically the key to healing right there. So the benefits of yoga there's so many benefits of yoga: physical, mental, spiritual, taking the body into a healthier state, bringing the mind to your body is not going to want to follow your mind if your mind is unhealthy, and your mind isn't going to be healthy also if you have a really unhealthy body. The spirit is going to be damaged along with all of that. And so yoga, basically, I'm so sorry. I'm going blank here. I'm really nervous right now. I just want to say that. That's an organic feeling, so I'm not ashamed, but I'm pretty nervous. This is the first time I've ever gone live. Thank you so much. I felt alone for a minute.
Hey, everybody out there in PowWows.com. This is Charlie. I'm a blogger with PowWows.com. And our featured guest for this evening is the one and only legendary Akasha Red Elk. So she's a famous champion jiggle dress dancer. And I don't think many of you guys know this, but she is also a yoga teacher. So she's here in the Bay Area for specialized training for addiction and recovery. So what this evening session is about, she's sharing some of her training and her goals. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and chime in. Hey, can you guys throw her some hearts? She's doing a great job.
I'll make sure I try to pay attention to these questions.
Oh yeah, you got lots of people tuning in.
Awesome.
So we're going to get it back to Akasha. So I think she's doing a great job. Look at that. We're both doing the same pose. Is this a yoga pose? Look, I'm relaxed.
Mudra.
All right,
thank you so much. This is the first time I've gone live. Like I said, I'm pretty nervous right now. There's been a lot going on. Okay, let's get back to the questions. And Carrie, Yogi Sammy, sweet. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in again. I'm going to try to get back on track here. So, how does this cause personally affect me? Well, I grew up with addiction. My dad was an alcoholic. He died from alcoholism. I had drug and addiction in the family all around me. My grandfather died before I even got to know him from alcoholism. This is all from my dad's side, my native side. And I grew up on a reservation. You know, after my dad passed away, we fell apart. And we went straight to drugs and alcohol. And downward spiral for many years. I was very rebellious as a teenager. And yeah, it really affected me. And I was a fighter. But that was my cover up for being very insecure and very confused in life. But, you know, it's hard when you're growing up. Teenage years are really awkward years, you know. Everybody goes through stuff like that at that time. So, what was the one right before that I was talking about?
Same thing. What do you want people, how does this...
Oh, okay, yeah, about the, why is it important? Because when we hold on to all of that trauma, it affects us emotionally. All of our reactive patterns are based on the traumas that we've had. And if we don't learn ways to deal with it as it's happening, it stays in our body and it makes us sick. It's so hard for me to hold this. Let me do it like this. This is so much easier for me. Thank you. Okay. Hello, everybody. I forgot to put the dog away.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
you can if you want to, and I'll stall.
Is that Is that this dog, or is that from?
That's the other one. It's a smaller one.
Is it tiny?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Akasha is house sitting right now.
Yeah.
So she's got to go tie up the dog. So it's going to be me and you guys for a quick moment. Hey, what's up, everybody? I just want to thank you guys for tuning in to PowWows.com. My name is Charlie. I'm one of the bloggers for PowWows.com. And this evening's guest is a really famous jingle dress dancer. Her name's Akasha Red Elk. She's from Pendleton, Oregon.
Okay.
All right, so it sounds like we got Tiny back in the house.
Come on, let's put them.
Tiny! All right, so I just want to say hi to some of the people tuning in. Hey, Mark, Medina, how you doing? Tuning in from Denver. You make for a great role model for all young ladies of ethnicity. She absolutely does. So she has a Wikipedia page. So we were looking for a bio from Akasha, and I just Googled her name, and she has her bio online. So that's pretty impressive. She's been around for a while. She's very well known in the powwow arena, and she's won the Gathering of Nations powwow quite a few times. And she's out there. She travels a lot. I saw her last year, so this is actually my first time getting to meet her in person. I did get a chance to see her the last time she was in the Bay Area, which was for the Stanford Powwow 2016, and she was the head woman dancer. So this is very great for me to actually be right here with her as she's doing a live interview. So let's go back to Akasha. Ooh.
Hey, sorry about that. We had some dogs running around here. So we were talking about yoga and the benefits, and basically I found yoga, it changed my life. I gained a lot of confidence through powwow dancing to begin with. This is going, battery's going low again. We should just plug it in right here. And, but like I said, I caught on fire when I was a kid. My dad passed away, had a lot of dysfunction growing up on the reservation and such. And I was really insecure, man. Like, I wanted to be a model, eh? When I caught on fire, that just wasn't going to be possible for me anymore. And, I don't know, I was just very rebellious. I was very confused. I had a wall up, you know. Found powwow dancing. And it opened up a confidence in me and a new respect, right? And so, hit the powwow trail. All of a sudden, I felt really confident about who I was. I felt like I had a purpose here on earth. I felt good about myself. I felt successful in something. I felt, you know, I finally felt something that took away from my insecurities about my shell, which is my body, you know, my skin. And so powwow helped me to become a really confident person, and spent 10 years doing that. And that's what basically changed my life at that time. But I had still, are you looking for light? Yeah. I had still, there's one behind you. It doesn't work. Oh. I still was insecure, you know, and I was still stuffing my issue. My issues live in my tissues. I didn't know how to stop, ground myself, assess a situation or a thought or a reaction. I didn't know how to cope with that. And so I stuffed everything. And so I thought I was healed. I thought I was okay, right? Because dancing made me really confident and all that. But I wasn't. And so fast forward, the kids' dad and I split up. And that was really hard for me. I went through a depression stage where I didn't even know what I was going to do with my life. I didn't even know how to get up each day. I was devastated, you know. It was really devastating for a lot of people when, you know, the kids' dad and I split up, because we were really well known on the powwow trail as two people, you know. And I had to find myself there. I had to find who was Acacia Red Elk, you know, because I had never really got to express myself as the person that I am. And so I started going to powwows by myself and learned how to be an independent woman, because I had been in a relationship for 10 years since I was like 19. So, and I went through another downward spiral, you know. I was just being very rebellious again, even at that older age. But that's very common for people to go through that, especially a woman that was put into a relationship at such a young age, right? And so did that. Didn't notice how it was affecting my family and my kids, because I didn't know any better. I was thinking about myself. So I knew that I needed to do something. Okay, so my son has autism. Okay, now I can get comfortable. I'm starting to get comfortable here. My son has autism. That's always been a big issue for me. Growing up, it was like, my son having autism was probably the biggest challenge in my life. Okay, I always thought like my scars and, oh, my dad died and, oh my God, like all these things happened. And you know, when I realize now that my biggest challenge and fear is of my son being autistic, and it was really hard raising him. He was really high strung. If a lot of you powwow people that know and remember, it was really hard with my son. He was always running. He was always screaming. He was super hyper. We had him I had him in my arm the whole time. He was tired of the powwow, and but I always had everything organized for him. But that was really stressful for me. I didn't realize how stressful that was for me. And my daughter, she, having issues with her weight and such. And I was at this stage where I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? They're still teenagers. I still have time to try to help change what I didn't realize I was causing. Our actions affect our children, and they're watching us all the time. I don't think we've realized how much our kids don't tell us. I've been doing lots of yoga trainings lately, and we've been having to tell our whole life story. We all just listen. You're given hours if you want. One of the stories went 3 hours. You tell your life story from beginning to right now, from who your parents were, what kind of trauma that they carried. And you tell your whole life story, and it just helps you realize where all of the issues that you have came from, right? And a lot of times growing up, when we have trauma within the family, whether it's dad being gone, mom being gone, one of them passed away, divorce, abuse, sexual, physical, verbal, there's so many different factors, man, and our kids are being affected, and they don't always tell us because they think they're supposed to be tough, right? They don't want to affect our vibe. And after hearing all these stories like this, it just makes me realize how much, sometimes our kids, even if we are good communicators with them, they will hold so much back from us, especially when it's about us. Right, if I'm wanting to ask my kids, is there anything that's bothering you about, me traveling? Do you, I used to ask, because I was traveling so much by myself, and they were at school, so they couldn't come. They didn't want to. My daughter did not want to miss school. I don't think my son cared very much, but I just wanted them to have that security that they didn't have when we were powwowing a lot, when I was with, their dad, because they'd miss school all the time for powwows. And powwow was everything. Powwow was our life at that time, which was fine. We had a great time doing that. I would never change a thing. But, I wanted my kids to have more structure. And so I was doing a lot of traveling. They were at home going to school. And there would be times where, I'd ask them, do you want me to, do you not want me to go? And they would never say yes. My kids have never been the clingy types that are like, Mommy, don't go, But to be honest, it was. But they were too afraid to tell me. And I see the effects in my kids. I see the effects in me from all of the decisions that I've made, the decisions of everybody around, the domino effect of decisions and how they affect us. And so back to where I'm like, what am I going to do? My daughter, we needed to find some kind of workout because she wasn't into sports. Neither was my son. And what we were going to do to help get healthy. And so I found a class called Booty Yoga. And it changed my life. I had never even done group workouts, right? I had never done group workouts. I wasn't into working out. I just powwow danced. I wasn't even really healthy. I was actually very unhealthy. And so I like to dance, right? I really like house music. And so when I looked up the workout, I'm like, oh, I can do that. I really like to dance like that. And I want to be able to be flexible again. So we went to this class, changed my life, right? Booty yoga is a movement practice that incorporates plyometrics, tribal dance, and yoga, like a vinyasa yoga flow. It uses kundalini spirals. So you're spiraling your chest and your hips to activate trauma and messed up stuff in our chakras. Our spiritual energy centers have blockages in them. And booty yoga, even though it's super fun, it's super physical, you're going to get awesome abs, you're going to get, muscle, you're going to get flexible and strong, but it also helps work negative energy up your chakras, right? And we hold on to trauma in our hips. That's where we hold on to our most trauma. So and for modern day Americans or whatever, like moving your hips is taboo to some people, right? So going to this workout and they're having us circle our hips, but not in a sexual way, in a way of engaging our core muscles, engaging and activating every muscle in our obliques and lower obliques, in our back, in our glutes. And then circling, and then imagining the energy moving up, kind of just picturing it like a cartoon. Sometimes I think of it as smoke moving up my spine. I take a deep breath in and I think of light entering my body. And as I exhale and circling in Buddha yoga practice, now you can do this in any practice, but in my Buddha yoga practice, I do this. And as we're circling, I will think about black smoke kind of rising off of my, like they're discs actually, but sometimes I see it as a tube, like up my spine. And I imagine black smoke lifting off of the walls, and that's negative energy, that's negative karma, that's all the BS. And I imagine it coming up and leaving with my breath. So this is healing through your own breath, through the power of thought, because we are magic. We have the power to heal ourselves, but we are not programmed to believe that anymore. And so that's why I love yoga. And I didn't know. I went in thinking, oh, I'm going to get strong and flexible again and get skinny.
And it changed your life. Yeah.
And then I started bawling on my mat. Like we were in Shavasana at the end of the workout and we were all crying, but we didn't know why. Because we had a release. Yeah. And I was like, I'm never missing this again. And we went back to everything.
Can you hold us on the turn?
Yes. Yeah. And my daughter was coming, and she started losing weight, and I started losing weight and getting strong, and you could just see that the happiness it was bringing to us, and it was lifting off layers and layers of BS that we're holding on to from our ancestors, our parents, from this life, and it just started. It started going away, and that's when I realized the power of yoga, and I was like, oh man, this can help heal historical trauma. And this is what our people need. But our people are very reluctant because they think it's a religion, which it's not. It's a practice. It's a practice with yourself. And so let's talk about the Y12SR too. So I get into yoga and I started getting I started posting a lot because I was changing. I was going through so much change that I started sharing about this practice and yoga and what it could do for you and how it was helping me. I basically wasn't trying to help anyone else. At that point, I was just really proud of my own progress and my daughter's progress. And so I started posting about it a lot. A lot of people started really gaining interest. And so I don't even think I was certified yet. I had got invited to perform at the Women's Muse Conference as a powwow dancer, because that's what I would usually get hired to do for any kind of gigs or whatever, was for powwow dancing. And so Women's Muse Conference is a conference in Bend, Oregon that brings together women from all over the world who are creating major change, positive change. And so it's a bunch of change makers in one place. Some of the neatest, coolest, most inspiring people I've ever met was at the Women's Muse Conference. So I go there and dance. We decided to stay and watch some of the interviews, and Nikki Myers, who's the founder of Y12SR, she was being interviewed, and she took the stage, but she, instead of sitting in a chair and being interviewed, she stood in the middle. And when she said, "Issues live in our tissues," I was like, love. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, that's what I want. That's the way I want to teach yoga. And she was talking about yoga. She was talking about Y12SR, and she was talking about off the mat into the world, taking your yoga practice and the principles on your mat out into the world, right? And so I was just so inspired, but I don't even think I was teaching yoga yet. Well, we were doing yoga every day. My friend Wendy Hinkle, who was my Buddha yoga teacher, she's the one that brought it to Pendleton, Oregon. She was like, you should get certified. She inspired a lot of us talked a lot of us into getting certified, and we're like, yeah, right, that we can't do that. And she really like told us, no, you can and you should. So a lot of us did, and I think I was only like 6 months into my practice or something when I got certified. So all of a sudden, a yoga instructor got invited back to Women's Muse again, met Nikki again, and I still didn't really get to connect with her very much, but I still knew, like, that woman, like, I'm going to be sitting next to her someday, working with her, learning from her. And, but I was still on my journey, you know, I'm still fighting my demons. I'm still, you know, I'm still chucking. I still have my struggles, and, get invited back the next year. And then I was, certified in some other types, and I was teaching, and I was starting to do motivational speaking and stuff. So I was just getting used to trusting my own voice and getting used to, standing on stage speaking and stuff like that, which was really like nerve-wracking for me. And so I met Nikki again last year, got her card. I told her, everything that you teach and talk about, I want to bring that to reservation. She said yes. And so I don't know what was going on, just I think 2 weeks ago was when I just signed up for this training. And I opened up a book, and her card fell out, and I messaged her that day. I emailed her, I Facebooked her, I Instagrammed her, I contacted her every way I could, and I was like, I have to get to your training. Is it sold out? Most of the time you can't really register that close to a training. Plus, it was a training with her. She's really well known for what she does, and she was actually going to be leading this training, and she's like something to behold. She's super special. So I was thinking there was going to be no way I'd be able to get on this training. Well, she messaged me back and said, I'm ecstatic for you to come to this training, and I've been waiting for you to call and let me know if you need help getting a scholarship. And I was like, oh, heck yeah. So got the scholarship, paid for it. I think I only paid $150 for this. My tribe paid for my flight here, and here I am. And like I said, I was really nervous going into this, not really like knowing much about it, but knowing that I trust this method, and I'm still learning about it, but I trust it, and I know it's going to do amazing things for our people and our hearts and our minds and our spirits and our bodies. You know, we all have some form of addiction, okay? There's like 200 different types of addiction meetings that you can go to. There's so many different kinds of addictions, and we all have some kind of addiction, and addictions stem from some type of trauma or event that took place in our lives. Yoga teaches us how to, so something happens, right? We're about to react. We go straight to reaction first, right? Yoga teaches us how to stop, ground ourselves, take a breath, exhale before we react, right? Every single problem in relationships and families and friends and countries, communities is based off of our reactions toward one another. And we're all angry. Like, everybody's angry right now. Everybody's stressed out with their daily lives. Nobody knows how to ground themselves. Okay, we're just reacting. I do it all the time. I can be a very reactive person. Thank God for yoga. But I'm still learning too. I still make mistakes. I still catch myself being this way or that way. But what I know so far has helped me, and what I want to share with people, you know, this is only the beginning. And, you know, they said you have to trust yourself. You can't beat yourself up about your mistakes and about your decisions and everything. You need to just trust the process, right? Like I said, I'm nervous. You know, I'm probably going to cry. I cry a lot. I'm a crier. And, but why hold that back, right? Back in the day when something happened within the time, like maybe there was somebody passed away, there was actually women that would cry. They were the criers. They would go around the village or community crying to allow other people to go ahead and cry and let go. And these days, we suppress our feelings. Nobody wants to cry. Everybody's supposed to be strong. Everybody's supposed to be tough. Nobody wants to be with an emotional person, you know. But to be honest, the reason people are overly emotional is because they're not allowed to be emotional. People judge them by it. And I liked what Nikki said. She said, you know, when we're feeling our emotions, we feel like crying, we're angry about something, that we need to go ahead and be angry, be sad, be nervous. Let that happen in that moment. Otherwise, we're stopping the universe from working. It's magic, because we are the universe. I mean, we are all part of Creator. And everything that we feel and go through is very organic. And even if it's kind of shitty, like maybe this person's superly dramatic, I can be superly dramatic and insecure, and I have control issues sometimes. But if I don't allow myself to experience that and then look at the why, then I will never get through it, and I'm not allowing it to be organic. And a lot of us have had experiences in our life that make us react different to things, and that's okay. It's okay to identify that first, and then knowing the why is a great tool for healing. That's why storytelling in these group settings, Y12SR, are very beneficial, and I think everybody should come to a Y12SR meeting if we come to your area. I'm going to talk more about Y12SR and how you can look it up, and how we're going to get trainings around Indian countries soon, so that there can be more leaders that can lead these meetings. I'm getting really diving into this yoga thing. Like I said, this is the first time I've gone live before. And I'm really nervous. So
It's gonna be great.
And I have a lot on my mind. So, yeah, so yoga changed my life. Yoga's awesome. Yoga's super beneficial. Yoga can reduce and release historical trauma, ultimately reducing the historical trauma in our future generations, you know, breaking the pattern, giving new ways to cope with stress and daily struggles and actions and reactions as they come. People can get a hold of me through my Facebook, Acacia Red Elk at rocketmail.com, ACOSIAREDELK at rocketmail.com, to ask more about Y12SR. You can also look up, where is it? Oh, here we go. So you can look up on the internet Y12SR, and it should give you options to look up trainings and such, and it'll give you all the information you need to find out more about it. And trainings coming near you, meetings near you. I haven't started my Y12SR page yet. Like I said, we just finished the training today. I'm still learning a lot about it. I'm going to study. I learned a lot this weekend, but it's fresh. It's brand new. So I'm kind of like it's hard to talk about right now. The lady Brooke and I that met this weekend, we plan on doing meetings across Indian country and Canada as soon as we can. And we feel like we have a lot of work to do. We are merely vessels. This is not about us. These are free. These are donation based. This is about giving it away. We're giving away these tools and this information that we learned. All we're doing is creating a safe space. It's not about me. It's not about us. It's about the community. It's about sharing. And basically what she told us is we're not training you to be a leader, because, there is no bigger I's and little U's. This is about, we're all here for a reason, I'm just like you. We're all the same. And I'm not a leader in this. I just create the safe space for this. And Yogi, you're asking register where? Oh, you're talking about taking flight. My friend Tanya, that I'm starting to do new workshops with, we created Taking Flight to Wellness. I'm jumping all over the place here.
I was just looking at that too.
I'm going to get better at this going live stuff, I promise. Tanya told me we need to go live. I'm like, wait, it doesn't have a Snapchat filter. I didn't get my makeup good. No, just kidding. I've been crying all day. I don't even care. I used to care so much about what I look like, man.
Aw.
I don't anymore as much as I used to. Whew. Tanya, Wild Bill, and I we created a new workshop called Taking Flight to Wellness. Right? We're starting our first one in Pendleton, Oregon, on July 14th, 15th, and 16th in Pendleton. We actually, our tribe had us do our first one with the employees for the DCFS, and they came just to kind of like practice on them, and that they could write evaluations and do a survey and tell us like what they liked about it, how we could change it, what we could add, what they didn't like. And then also we're going to do one with the youth council the week before the July one. And so it's just kind of giving us a practice. It's basically a retreat to release barriers and manifest the life you were born to live. I'll go ahead and read this thing real quick. Wellness Wave. Wellness Wave is located in Pendleton, Oregon. We have 2 yoga studios. The founder is Tanya Wildbill. She's married to Cedric Wildbill from Pendleton, and she created 2 spaces. So we have a yoga studio on the reservation in Pendleton and one in town. So Tanya is a super go-getter, right? And so I was like, oh yeah, we should do these workshops, like healing workshops, healing trauma through yoga,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, it's okay.
And Tanya was on it, right? I've had discussions like this with so many people, but it's never really happened. So all of a sudden, Tanya and I are taking flight. And so the Taking Flight retreat will address self-care and provide tools to release trauma at the cellular level. Through yoga, journaling, meditation, dance, life coaching, and sharing, this retreat will provide clear steps that will provide deep healing, rejuvenation, and awakening to flying forward in life with a new sense of empowerment and clarity. Each day of our life is a journey into wellness. The United States is in a great need of healing as we have the highest rate of chronic disease, including diabetes, obesity, and heart disease in this century. We want to spark a love and passion of movement in our physical and emotional bodies that will begin to create a shift internally so that an awakening can truly begin to happen as a wellness wave across America and the world. And that was basically like Tanya and I's vision, was like seeing a wave coming across Indian country of wellness. She plans to open up 50 wellness waves. She's got this. She's like, there's already somebody that wants to open one in Wisconsin, you know, this lady that wants to bring us to Wisconsin to do these workshops, and she's going to try to hook us up with other communities in the Midwest as well. So we'll be traveling, doing these retreats, doing these workshops, learning about, so we would start with, you know, a workout. Maybe I might do a powwow yoga infusion workout. And then we would go into learning about the chakras and what the chakras are, what they mean, what they're connected to, what they represent. And when chakras, which are discs, when they're either overactive or underactive, it causes imbalances, right? And so if we can learn ways to bring more balance into our chakras, we can live a more balanced life. So that's what we learn. We also learn about, we'll teach you about when your chakras were developing at what age, and if a traumatic event took place at that time in your life, it could really give you a lot of ideas about, information about why you have this reactive pattern, why you have this illness, whether it's a physical illness, mental illness, spiritual illness, right? A lot of our issues live in our tissues. So we would go over that, and it's neat learning about the chakras because you basically learn about why you are the way you are. It's kind of scary, but it's really cool too. Tanya will bring us through the wellness wheel of life, where she has you, you know, talking about things that are important in your life and what aren't, and the things that are, you know, the things that you need to get organized in your life. Work objectives and timelines, how to create, take steps to move vision to reality. She does a little bit of life coaching, and then she also will do a yoga and a yoga nidra session with us, which is more restorative yoga. And yoga nidra is basically like it's like a meditation. It's a guided deep yogic sleep, and it's one of the most amazing feelings that you'll ever have. And it's just